All right, recall that Rufai was in Abia State last weekend on a media tour, and after which he had a personal media chat with the Governor of Abia State, Governor Alex Otti, where the governor alleged that nothing was left for him in the state coffers aside debt. He has also alleged that the former governor deceived him to inaugurate an uncompleted building, government house in Abia State. A whole lot were said, and it has been trending. Well, this morning, the former advisor to the former governor of Abia State is here to play a defense. I like you to watch this video to the end and hear what he said. You be the judge by yourself. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I'll be right back.
The morning show with Arise News. Governor of Abia State, Alex Otti, accused his predecessor, Okezie Ikpeazu, of committing fraud by commissioning an uncompleted government house. He described it as one of several deceptive legacies that his government has had to correct since assuming office. Governor Otti said that while the previous administration had ceremoniously opened the new government house, what he met on the ground upon taking office told a different story. The governor also touched on various topics concerning the state of Abia. On debt, Otti maintained that his government had not borrowed a single kobo since assuming office, despite inheriting a debt profile of 192 billion naira, including outstanding salaries, pensions, and debts owed to government parastatals. While on the state of healthcare, he noted that the controversial multi-specialist hospital in Aba was not abandoned as alleged by repurposed as a general hospital. He explained that the nearby Abia State University Teaching Hospital had regained full accreditation under his watch and now fills the specialist role. Well, joining us on the show for a right of reply on some assertions made by the governor about his predecessor is Chief John Okezie Ikpeazu, former Commissioner for Trade and Investment under the government of Governor Okezie Ikpeazu. He also served as special advisor to Governor Ikpeazu on ICT and social media strategy before he was appointed Commissioner for Information in 2017, where he served for 4 years. Good morning, sir, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, Vimbai, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure.
Okay, so this is a right of reply. A couple of things were said. At first, I would like to know how much was left in the state coffers when your governor, Ikpeazu, left? Secondly, what's your response to the uncompleted government house? Because I went there and I saw that there were some areas that were left undone, not plastered and all of that, from the second, third floor upwards. Thirdly, tell us more about the debt situation. The governor said he has not collected any debt. In fact, he had reduced the debts. What say you about that? It's a right of reply.
Thank you, Rufai, for having me, and thank you for visiting Abia State. Let me start right away with your first question. How much was left in the coffers of Abia State? Now, you must have heard Governor Alex Otti tout a KPMG report commissioned by his administration. That report, which he prefers to call a forensic audit, and that's surprising because he's a banker and should know better, is a process review document. That process review document says that over 4 billion naira in cash was left for Governor Alex Otti. Now, there were near cash instruments also left for him. For instance, the Ikpeazu administration earned 24 billion naira in stamp duties. We also left other assets, because he likes talking about liability, and I was surprised he wasn't quite pressed. If you have come to public arena to talk about liabilities, you should also be talking about assets. If you are saying that, of course, there are liabilities, and so because the liabilities are more, what about the assets you inherited from the same government? You inherited a $60 million ramp fund. You inherited $225 million African Development Fund. You inherited 24 billion naira from the stamp duties due to Abia State. And then you saw cash in Union Bank of about 4 billion naira. Yet you said that nothing was left in the coffers. And thank you for that interview because it exposed a lot of things. For the first time in my life, I saw a governor of a state who could not speak to how much the state makes in IGR monthly, who doesn't even know the fact receipt on the average. He doesn't even know the public school enrollment in our state. And I saw a governor for the first time who flagged off an airport project and does not know what the intervention of the state will cost the people of the state. Neither does he know what the federal government is investing in that project, even though there is budgetary approval for that project. That speaks to who Dr. Alex Otti is. He is very high on propaganda, very low on substance. He told you that the first floor of the new government house that was commissioned, that he visited that place, it was fantastic. Let me for a moment concede that it was an uncompleted building. This guy has had 2 years in office. In those 2 years, he could have completed whatever was not completed, yet he chose to stay in his private residence in Mfose, spend government money to improve his own private property, disgrace the people of Abia State, because you heard the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, mention it, that he's working from home, that no other governor in Nigeria is working from home. Whereas, the same governor who told us that he was looking for 1 billion naira to actually go back to that government house, the new government house, to complete it, is the same governor spending multi-billion naira in Asokoro, Abia Lodge. The same governor spent over 800 million naira to fix the commissioner's quarters. Now, here is something that people don't know. If for any reason he believed that the new government house was not ready, he had the old government house in Umuahia. He had the presidential lodge in that old government house in Umuahia. He also had access and retained access even to this day to Aba Governor's Lodge. But the problem is when you are speaking to mediums, when prophets are deceiving a governor, he begins to find excuses here and there why he will not do what he's supposed to do.
On the debt issue, quickly go to the debt issue. The debt issue. He said he has not taken any loan.
Number one,
do you have any proof to show he has taken any loan?
Governor, I am sure that your producer will show on the screen a document confirming a contractor finance deal between Access Bank, owned by late Nwigwe, and Kranenburg, owned by late Nwigwe, signed by Abia State government for 50 billion naira contractor finance loan. Now, that contractor finance loan, like every other loan, is charged on the state FAC account. The spokesman for the governor admitted that they took this facility. Indeed, he said that they have only spent 10 billion naira as at that time out of the 50 billion naira. Yeah, this is the governor that found comfort in coming to the public arena to say what he said. And again, let me also say something. He mentioned DMO, Debt Management Office, in the course of his presentation, and made it look like DMO is an agency in the air. For Christ's sake, the data collected by DMO will normally come from state governments on a monthly basis, and he knows that. So why is he coming to the public arena to dispute DMO figures? And again, I found something funny. My governor said he has paid down over 70 billion naira from Abia's debt. And I'm asking, who did you pay? And when I looked into it, I found out that he has started smart accounting again, the same kind of smart accounting that led to the downfall of Diamond Bank, where they were using asset revaluation as profit.
Chief John,
now, let me explain the smart accounting, please, so that the whole world will understand. Vimbai, would you allow me 1 minute to explain what I mean by smart accounting?
Go ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. With regards to the loan portfolio of Abia State, this governor, for instance, owed pensioners himself 9 months pension arrears, amounting to about 10 billion naira. When he paid the pension arrears, he asked those old pensioners, tricked them into purportedly signing a forfeiture of their historic pension and gratuity. Since 2003, administrations in Abia State have not been able to manage gratuity very well. So you have a historic pension and gratuities that is outstanding in our books. When they purportedly forfeited those pension arrears, what he did was write them off from the book, report that to the DMO as payment of debt. Whereas there are 4 elements in getting DMO domestic debt portfolio for every state. One would have been money borrowed from commercial banks. I want to speak to the fact today that the Ikpeazu administration did not left 1 kobo debt in any commercial bank. And the reason is very simple. All the commercial banks will give you facilities that will terminate before the end of your own tenure. So he cannot say that it was the Ikpeazu administration that borrowed that money.
Okay.
And again, we also had domestic debt arising from the old debts of Old Imo State, which was transferred to Abia State.
Okay, Chief
They
Kalu.
were also contractor debts. Now, these things made up the domestic debt that he was talking about. And if he had not done anything about any of this, we have not heard that Abia has paid off any of our foreign loans. Abia has not paid any of our contractors. We have not heard any other thing other than he has written off gratuities and pensions, comes to the public arena to deceive the gullible, which
Chief
is
Kalu.
what he is very good at. I give it to him.
Okay, Chief Kalu. I want us to focus a little bit more on, can I call it the handover period? The period where one inherited something from their predecessor and picked up from there and moved from there. Because it is widely reported that at that stage, the handover stage, there was over 33 months of salaries owed. However, you're saying that all accounts were in the positive. Where did that salary indebtedness come from? If when he was inaugurated into office, he met it there. Can you explain a little bit of why these salaries were not paid? Because they were not a creation of anybody's imagination.
There were salaries outstanding, particularly related to parastatals. The model the Ikpeazu administration used in running parastatals is slightly different from what you see in some other states. His view, as at that time, was that these parastatals ordinarily should be profitable and that they should, because they do not remit their revenue to the state government, they retain that revenue for their operation. He was of the view that, look, you should pay yourself from your revenue. For instance, if you have a polytechnic in a state with 30,000 students collecting 100,000 from each student as school fees, why should that polytechnic be run in a manner that they will have to come back to the state government every month with a begging plate to collect money to pay salary? So he wanted them to be self-sustaining. Because old habits die hard, because the managers of that system, they are used to handouts from government while they swallow every other thing that comes from it. In the process, we had outstanding in our parastatals. I speak to the ministries in Abia State. No ministry was owed by Ikpeazu. I speak to the local government. We had 1 month outstanding with the local government, which was placed in the bank before we left office. The ministries, including the ministry I ran as at that time, didn't have any outstanding. In fact, Broadcasting Corporation of Abia State, that was under my charge at some point, not only did not have worker salary outstanding, we also had pensions being paid fully. Let me again continue by telling you that our governor dismissed the new government house. He said the ground floor was fantastic, but that the first floor was not even plastered. Let me now speak to the fact that personally, I was the one who supervised the furnishing of the governor's office at the first floor. Because the first floor is where you have the governor's office. The ground floor is for leisure. The top floor was supposed to be the governor's residence. And Dr. Ikpeazu said that ordinarily, every new governor will want to be the one furnishing where he will live with his family. That we should leave that top floor for him to do, so that he will do it according to his own test, knowing that he might have a different test from Governor Ikpeazu. It is not as if we didn't complete it. We even built a brand new 2-story building where we had up to 40 rooms furnished that will house his security aides. If we didn't intend for him to live there, why did we do all that? And I want to say to Nigerians that actually the last State Executive Council meeting was held in that new government house.
Yeah,
yes, I'm with you, Rufi.
I went there. There was no elevator there.
I'm with
the
you.
point for elevator was left blank. There were some parts of the top that was just only, was not painted.
The pictures that we're seeing now, what floor is this?
These pictures are just for the ground floor.
Right.
The upper floor, there was no elevator. I went there myself. I caught it on my camera after I did a tour of that state. That's the point. Secondly, I want you to talk about the the multi-specialist hospital system that you people, had built before, that you said the governor did not use, that he responded to. I want you to talk about that. And I also want you to talk about the arrears of payment and all of that. If you answer that, then Femi, please, you can comment.
You can even add my